New World is falling off, and it's falling off fast, but is this just the calm before the storm with big updates coming soon that could reignite the player base? Let's talk about it. Now, some people are going to disagree with me, and I just want to put that out there very early. I'm not all doom and gloom. I'm also not all optimistic. So we'll just get right into it, and you can make an opinion of your own, which you can leave down in the comments below. And let me just warn you, the image you're about to see, it's pretty rough. And here you have it. What you have before you are the Steam chart stats for concurrent players at any given moment from the launch of the game up until now. And that big dip starting in October and flowing down through December, that was kind of to be expected. When most games launch, they launch with a lot of hype. New World was no different, and if anything, it was on the extreme end of that hype. Tons of streamers and personalities were engaging in this brand new world. And of course, early on in the game's lifespan, it seemed like there was so much to do between the crafting, the chopping down trees, the exploring, the monsters, the combat, picking what weapons you wanted to use. It seemed like it was endless. Well, about 2.5 months in, it seemed that, well, it did end, and it ended abruptly. As you got to the end game content, you found that there wasn't really much to do. Getting the expeditions was incredibly difficult and not even really worth your time unless you had achieved an already great gear score via the watermark system, which was hidden, which people didn't enjoy. Instead, you were stuck doing chest runs, running in large groups past mobs, trying to open chests in the hopes that you would increase your watermark score and therefore eventually get to 590 and eventually have to craft, collect all those things to be able to make the orbs to go into the expeditions for the chance at legendaries. Nobody enjoyed this, and you can see it. People played the game, people jumped on, people were passionate and dedicated early on. I was addicted. I was on the treadmill at the gym doing stuff from my phone. You can Steam link New World, by the way, literally chopping down trees and doing things, trying to progress my character. Ooh, hold up, let me hit oh, that is a thing of iron right there, baby. Ooh-wee, look at that. I went hard in the first 2 months of this game. I mean, I had 500 hours just about, and then I was suddenly done. There wasn't much to do. All they'd really added was OPR. OPR was still kind of hectic. Wars were laggy. Invasions seemed unwinnable, but still more fun than wars. And so there just was all of this potential, and then it just stopped. You put all this work in, and you were so excited about doing even the most minuscule things, and then it stopped. And then it seemed like some things were just hard to be hard. It was tedious. The travel got you just weighed down constantly, trying to figure out what town to go to store things, then have to go back to get the item out because you couldn't transfer it. It was in a different faction. And now they've solved a lot of those things. And I really do mean it when I say that this is not all doom and gloom. Yes, that graph was traumatic. It shows that this game was at the tip top, absolutely insane with over 400,000 concurrent players. And now it floats between the 25,000 to 30,000 concurrents, which isn't exactly anything to write home about, but it's also not that bad. A lot of people see that drop and just assume that, oh, because of this massive fall off, that must mean that it is in an absolutely terrible state. Not necessarily. Not every MMO out there has even 25,000 active concurrents. You're just not comparing it to what it had before at launch. Another mistake a lot of the people who are on the New World is Dead train seem to make is that they take the number of peak concurrents and they post it as if that is the total number of players. So in the last 24 hours, the peak was 25,245 players. That does not mean that New World only has 25,000 players. It means that at one point there were 25,245 players online. Those players rotate out, different time zones, different countries, so on and so forth. And so you have to add all of that together, all the players that were online on one given day. And according to MMO Tracker, which again, I can't speak to the accuracy, but I estimate it's roughly in the ballpark, 414,000 people get on New World every day. Now, maybe that's not as much as, let's say, Final Fantasy or something of the like, but that's a lot of people. And I definitely wouldn't consider 414,000 people playing a game being a dead game. Hey, you know what time it is. This is where I tell you to head on over to my Twitch, twitch.tv/heartbreaker_TV, throw me a follow and engage with me live where I can answer your questions, discuss things with you, maybe have a little bit of banter. But until then, let's get back to the video. So now we've kind of gone over the past. We've talked about the present numbers. So let's talk about the future. Somewhat recently, this roadmap was released to the public. What New World has done is laid out before us what they plan to accomplish and when it comes to new content for New World. Now, given we are in the spring of 2022, there are some things on this list that we've already seen, such as Tempest's Heart Expedition, which I think really added to the game. There needed to be more expeditions in the game, and to put it simply, it is one of the best looking expeditions, aka dungeons, I have ever seen in any game. The aesthetic, the looking out from the lane that you're in and just viewing the world that they've built is mind-blowing, to say the least. But there are drawbacks to it. There are cons to it. No matter how beautiful it is and how unique some of the boss fights are, the actual fights to get there are rather lacking. It's the same mobs using the same attacks. It's a lot of the same stuff, but it looks really good and the bosses are fun to fight, even if it's on the longer end of an expedition. We also saw the blunderbuss already come into the game, and it is popular, probably because it has that one-shot potential thing that we don't really want to talk about because we are tired of it. But a new weapon has already entered the game, and on the PTR right now, PvP arenas 3v3 and the PvP reward track are already being tested. This is huge, and I think the arenas is going to bring a lot of people back to New World and actually keep them around a bit until the new content comes out later on in the year. Now, I think this was a very smart move, because if you release something that doesn't have a lot of replayability, something that people can't just hop on and do, such as 3v3 arenas, then you run the risk of people coming back, doing that thing, that new expedition, whatever, a couple times, getting the new items, and then moving on. There is replay value in a 3v3 competitive setting, and I think this is a really smart play by them. I think it's going to bring a lot of people back. It's going to give viewers on things like Twitch or YouTube something to watch as they want to master the craft and be better at this competitive element. And it also opens the door for things like esports competitions and so on and so forth, but we'll cover that in another video. Then in the summer, now this update to me seems a little lacking, right? In the first one, we have a new expedition, 3v3 arenas, we have a new weapon, and then we get to summer. And to be honest, I think it's a little lacking. Barnacles and Black Powder expedition, cool. I think there should be more expeditions. I say this on my stream all the time. Having to run Lazarus and Jin constantly over and over and over isn't that exciting. Tempest does help with that. I still think there should be more, and there should be more drive to actually run these dungeons. So I love that they're doing the expedition. However, I'm not super excited for the rest of it, right? Expedition Group Finder. I know this isn't a lot of other games. I think it makes it less social, so I don't really necessarily love that. Will it make it easier to find expeditions? Probably. Will you be able to just sign up? People can pick and choose, that sort of thing. Great. You'll be able to select the role that you want to do or the weapon, whatever it is. I like that, but at the same time, I like that right now, New World is one of the more social MMOs because it doesn't have these things built in. And of course, everybody that's modern is like,
they should be built in. These are quality of life, yada, yada, yada.
I'm not going to get into that right now. And then a summer event. Now, we don't know a lot about that. It could be really cool, but if it's just a temporary thing like these other ones, it is. It's a nice little splash to the moment. However, the summer update is looking a little bare. It's a little disappointing to me. So I expect we're going to see this big influx in the spring. It's going to be a little bit of a dip that may see the surge when the expedition drops in the summer. And then we get to autumn. If New World can survive and keep people at least somewhat interested until autumn, I think it is going to blow up. You're already going to have arenas, which will then be fine-tuned, I'm sure improved over that period of time. And then we get a whole new territory. The game is finally expanding outward on the map. So we're going to get a new territory. With that new territory, we're also getting a new expedition. Yes, another expedition and a new weapon, the Greatsword, which I have a lot of people telling me that they want to use a Greatsword so bad right now and they can't. So I expect when that thing launches, if it's even remotely decent, we're going to see lots and lots of Greatswords, but I feel like the Greatsword is going to end up being a little OP. Next up, leaderboards, massive. This is going to push people to want to go farther in the game, whether it's 3v3 arenas, whether it's in OPRs, whether it's wars, whatever it might be. Leaderboards are a great way to incentivize people to play more of the game, to pursue higher levels, greater gear scores, greater potion, I mean, whatever it might be, crafting. It will push people in that direction and allow a little bit of competition and drive. And then of course, the Night Vale Hallow event, which will probably be really exciting. That of course is going to be like a Halloween-ish theme. And then the Turkalon 2022 event, so they're bringing that back. The roadmap looks good. I think summer's a little bare, but with all of this put out there, when the spring drops, I think we're gonna see a big surge. We're gonna see a bit of a dip, and then we're gonna come out swinging in autumn. So yes, the numbers are low. Yes, there's been a massive fall off, but these aren't players that can't be reached again. A lot of people left and they said, oh, it's because there wasn't enough content. Oh, they did the expertise system or whatever it might be, but I don't think too many are gone for good. I don't think there was one big thing that they did that they were just like, okay, I'm never gonna touch this game again. There will always be people like that. So I'm sure some of you watching might be like, no, I just watch New World content on YouTube, but I'll never play it. However, I do think a lot of people are willing to come back. And I think with what they are doing and what they've laid out, this could could be huge. This game really could see the comeback and even attain the numbers it had before with 400,000 concurrents, 500,000, 600,000 concurrents, and keep that for a period of time if these updates keep rolling out. Now, I will say spring and autumn are definitely my favorites, and I wish that they did those sized updates more often. However, I understand maybe during the summer there's gonna be way more bug fixing, way more fine tuning, which they state at the bottom here, new mutators, quests, encounters, ongoing improvements, balance tuning, and bug fixing will be taking place throughout all of that. So you can expect some of that as well. If your concern is that there are too many bugs, desync issues, so on and so forth, you are right. And hopefully those things will be solved along the way. And there you have it. Those are my predictions. I do believe New World will come back in full force. However, I do think that people have to be a little bit patient with it. They also have to understand New World isn't dead. Not being as popular as you once were doesn't make you a dead game. Fortnite is nowhere close to dead, despite the fact that the success it had in 2018 isn't quite there anymore. It's still massively popular. It's still loved by many. Top streamers will still hop on, just like now, Shroud, Asmongold, those guys want to play New World. I think they truthfully do believe in the game and they enjoy it, but there needs to be more content and they are going to deliver on that over the next 6 months to a year. So now it's time for you to tell me what you think. Down in the comments below, tell me, do you think that things are looking up for New World? Do you think it's too little too late? Do you wish that they were doing more in these updates? Let me know. I want to hear from you. Let's have that conversation. And while you're here, if you enjoy this content, want more New World content, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.